I've got one request for anyone who's, let's just say you have a certain level of influence, just an ungodly amount of money, or you yourself are a congressman, right, or a congresswoman. This is the one law that I want instated in the year of 2025, and that's to put a limit on how many years past a movie's creation that a remake can come out. It's not good. I couldn't tell you exactly how long that number needs to be, but it needs to be longer. When did Dune original come out as a movie, right? When is the original Dune? A while ago, that's for sure. And they waited, and then now we did a new version. Plus, everybody loves Timothée Chalamet, right? Now Dune is cool, because they didn't make a remake after only 10 years. That's one of my biggest gripes, because I want to watch something, right? I mean, when was remember Man of Steel? Oh, no, what am I thinking of? Oh shit. What was that robot boxing movie with Hugh Jackman? Damn, I can't remember. Right? There wasn't one of those first, right? Anything that's kind of a slightly new idea, that's what we're aiming for. But with the working out, I have a very different stance. I think, shit. You're better off just sticking to your one routine or workouts indefinitely than going back and forth a million times a minute on doing either full body or this or that or whoever and what, and not good. Who's oh crap, I don't remember his name. I was about to talk to a guy who I see on Instagram a lot who I like. But either way, look at guys who are big. And I'm not talking gargantuan bodybuilder big. I just mean these guys work out. What's in common? What are the factors and traits that are in common with dudes who really work out, and you can tell just by looking? They work out a lot, and they work out pretty hard. Also, they're probably involved in their diet. Those are the three. Work out a lot, and then get your macros at least under reasonable order. Right, that's all I can really tell to anybody when it comes to their lifting journey. So, plan for today, I'm going to make it a little more chill weight-wise. So, I'm not going to put 2 stacks together and do push-downs, but I still want it to be a nuts pump. So, what does that mean? That means I'm going to go superset style. I'm talking tricep push-down immediately into a set of curls and then rest. Cross-body extensions, kind of, sword style, straight into cable curls, straight into machine curls, straight into whatever. That's going to be the orientation of today's lift. So, essentially just maximizing my pump per minute, or I guess my rate of pump per minute, right? My RPM, literally. So this is the kind of workout that I would definitely implement if I was actually in a crunch. Not in a crunch, but I've actually got to kind of speed up with this sort of thing, because you don't need a massive warm-up to get into a lift like this, because it's just your arms. If I can do half a stack of rope extensions and really squeeze it, honestly, I don't really have to do any warm-up before I did a really light squeezing set like that. So then that means that the first few sets that you do are twofold, because you're doing a working set and getting this lift started, and warming yourself up to maybe do something slightly heavier later on. But all that's to say is within 45 minutes of my first set of or my first rep of tricep movement number 1, I will be as pumped as I can be, at least in my upper extremities. So all I can hope for is that not everybody is doing arms at the same time and using all the machines that I'm aiming for. But if that's the case, I can suck it up. And a busy gym is not such a big deal as we may make it out. But no more talking. Let's jump in there. So, plan for combo number 1. And if you're ever going to do a supersetting kind of lift like this, where you're doing a tricep movement and then immediately a bicep movement, it well, let's just say it helps to simplify your setup, you know, because it depends on how busy your gym is, but you don't want to be the guy who runs 4 machines down and says, bro, I'm on this for another 6 sets. You know, you kind of hog and shit at that point. So the cable is perfect because switching from try to buy is like nothing. It's just one swap. So rope first, very squeezing, emphasized. I'm talking like a full second, maybe 1.5 seconds hold, trying to bend my arms backward like they're gonna snap in half, exorcist style. And then just, you know, take it to failure. The rope kind of humbles you in the sense that as long as you keep a good upright posture, there's not a lot of cheating, because the whole point of it is the fact that you're pulling it apart as well. So with a straight bar, you can kind of get your chest involved and turn it into this downward press. But with the ropes, you know, you'd have, if you're doing the rope wrong, it would look pretty freaking silly. But rope extensions first, and then bicep bias pull downs afterward, which totally same style, squeeze, hold, slow release, as many as possible. So let's make it happen. There we go. Don Tolliver has been going nuts. Okay. I think actually probably 2 more of those. Same style, same everything. And then pick a new 2 set of movements. Or I guess just 1 new set of movements. Whew. Oh, yeah. 1 more. Yeah, 1 more of these. And these bicep bias pull downs, these are sneaky. All right, you might not, I mean, you don't feel a crazy amount of fatigue in your biceps on rep 1. Because, I mean, the leverage of it, you're pretty strong. you know, with the push down, this is heaviest at the top because my hands, where the rope is loaded, is furthest away, you know, sideways from where my tendons and my triceps are actually acting. But for the bicep curl, it's lightest at the top, right? Because you're very strong here, just this minute little motion. But the fatigue adds up. But either way, one more, same style. If I can get my music playing. There we go. Okay. All right. I think I know a set of movements that'll be perfect next. Let's move on. There we go. All right. Dips first, curls second. Now I know I just said all that shit about don't hog machines. There's nobody using it. You know, be courteous, but you can use stuff. That's about right. Stack might be a little much. Okay. Yeah, use this, right?
Yeah, no, you're good.
Thank you. There we go. Ooh, I gotta put the seat one more notch lower. But that was good. 2 more of those. Okay. Oh, man. That's good. Okay. One more. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure what's next, but another pair of something. I think this will be the last set of movements, but I'm not totally sure how we would... Okay, actually, you know what? I am sure. Standing cable curls first. Shoot the cable up, and then pre-exhaust with some pushdowns before flipping around into overhead extensions. So a little bit of a three-parter, a bit tricep emphasized. But honestly, 2 of these, that's gonna be it. That's a little heavy. Okay, so for this set, I am gonna change it up. Same 3 movements. I like the combo of pushdowns, standing curls, and overhead extensions, but I'm gonna change up their order. So this time, I'm gonna go overhead extension, drop the cable, cable curls, and then throw the cable back up and just burn out with regular pushdowns. So a little bit of a roundabout approach, but I can kind of explain some of the portions. Like, it's almost, you know, for triceps at least, like a rest pause set, because I'm doing a full set to failure of overhead, give my triceps a second while I do the curl, and then coming back to finish the job with the pushdowns, right? It's like a John Wick scenario, you know, run up a staircase, triple kill with a backflip. You come back down the staircase, realize you had a straggler, put him down. You know, that's a good analogy for what this set's gonna be like. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Let's go post down. All right. Let's see. This is, I think I can go a little. Yeah, that's about right. So, what was that? That was an 8-set kind of combo workout. So I'm talking, well, I mean, we just saw it. I guess, do I really have to explain the whole thing? But yeah, I think that's it's a bit of a misconception, I feel, about, when we talk what a workout should look like, are you doing enough? Because it can really get into a freaking mental battle of trying to think like, okay, shit, gains are slow. Is what I'm even doing working? Let's hit a couple poses and then discuss first. There we go. All right, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today. So what I mean is, even for me, like I've gone through pretty substantial periods where it's like, okay, how many sets am I doing? How many should I be doing? I used to think, okay, if, so at the time of me like doing my gym research of what my lift should look like and, how many reps and how many sets, the general consensus that I was seeing, across different videos and, guides and statements and everything else was about 25 sets per week. So if you hit everything twice a week, 12 sets of chest, lift, 12 sets of chest again. That was kind of the general like nomenclature. So at first I hear that and I'm like, okay, if 25 is good, 50 is twice as good. And I did the same thing with protein. Like there was I've got some days tracked where I think I had like 350 grams of protein daily. And at the time, I'm like 180 pounder. So totally unnecessary amounts, but if it works, it works, so just a lot of things to kind of consider. Ooh, but let's just continue with the car. Try to highlight any main points that at least, I can say, kind of my take on. Very good. A very good arm pump indeed. Actually, I was kind of tweaking out when I saw that front lat spread. You would think front lat spread, I want my lats to be pumped up. But honestly, for me, the muscle that, when pumped versus unpumped adds to the front lat spread the most, would you guess it, the tricep, right? I'm talking the back of the arms. But from the front, it's going to count as the outsides, so it's kind of just adding to your broadness, honestly, even more than crazy shoulders would. That's one thing I see a good chunk of, at least on occasion. It's guys where their arms are slacking a bit compared to their shoulders. Now we think shoulders, we think broad, cool, big, side laterals, shoulder press, everything else. But as far as I'm concerned, what I'm aiming for is kind of a 1-to-1 of kind of, I guess, what would I say, diameter? Yeah, 1-to-1 of shoulder diameter to arm diameter, right? And that's judged in kind of, combination of like regular double bicep as well as like a side chest where you're doing like a side shot. Because if your shoulder is way bigger than your arm is, even, as big as that might make your shoulder look, then, all you're going to think of when you look at that, just in relativistic terms, is, all right, well, his arms aren't as big as his shoulders. It's in kind of looking at I said this yesterday, the feng shui of your build. Typically, if something is really ahead of the game, we're not really wired to be optimistic like that, where we'd say, holy crap, that guy's chest is huge. It's a little more likely to say, oh man, that guy's arms are way smaller than his chest. That's kind of what we're sort of made for. So when you hear guys talk about how you want your calves to be the same size as your neck, like that was kind of there's a lot of older school sort of proportion kind of ideas like that. They've got a point, like it's not for totally no reason, but with arms, at least for me, my shoulders are ahead of the game enough compared to them that there's not going to be much shoulder training for quite a while. Now, if my arms just suddenly totally blow up in size, then I'm going to start doing more shoulders to get them to catch up and make sure they're the same, the same size around. But for now, shoulders get to take it easy, and it's not like they get no activation. I mean, they come into play basically every time I do anything with my arms. Even picking up dumbbells for curls, my front delts are coming into play, just keeping me stable in my side delts every time I'm like, taking a plate off a machine, putting it onto something else. It's sort of like your abs almost, in the sense that once they're developed to a certain level, they get enough sort of non-direct work just from everything else that working out entails, that they're not going anywhere. For me to do those sets of like push downs earlier, I mean, since I'm kind of bending over and holding myself in position to push the cable down, my abs are getting engaged. Not to mention every time I brace, or just anytime I'm flexing in the mirror, of course I'm going to flex my abs at the same time. They're just not going anywhere. So that's kind of my take there. But either way, very good arm pump, and now I get to just go home feeling good. So plan for the post-workout meal, we'll see. We'll have to freaking see. Ground beef will be involved. White rice will be involved. And that's really as far as I can say for sure. But either way, I will see you for... I might make tomorrow more of an accessory day instead of a leg day. Well, I guess we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow to find out.